What is the single most important thing that the Rams got done on Sunday in Week 6? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. My name is Travis Rogers. Thanks for making us a part of what you do. Not only do I host the Locked On Rams podcast, but I also host the Rams pregame, halftime, and postgame show on their flagship station, ESPN 710. We get that going about 2 hours before every single Rams game, so if you get a chance, check that out as well. We got a good one for you. Don't forget that today's pod is brought to you by Locked On, or I should say PrizePicks is bringing us Locked On Rams today. PrizePick is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projections, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. Why don't you click that subscribe button in your podcast feed? That would be good news. Why don't you click that subscribe button on our Locked On Rams YouTube page? That would be a good way to do it as well. We've got a good one for you today. So I want to talk about these three things. I want to talk about what happened to the NFC West. I thought it was supposed to be good. I thought it was supposed to be one of the deeper divisions in football. Maybe not so much, at least not through the first 3 weeks of the season. And welcome to the party, Allen Robinson. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Thank you for finally showing up just in the nick of time. Allen Robinson finally has a game for the Rams that we can talk about in a positive light. That is right around the corner as well. But let's start right here. Let's talk about what the Rams did yesterday that was the single most important thing that they could have done against a bad Carolina team, against a Carolina team that might be even worse than I thought, against a Carolina team. And I know that there are the Bears, and I know that there are the Commanders, and maybe one or two other teams, but I think you'd be very hard-pressed to find a worse team right now in the NFL in 2022 than the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they fired their wide receiver in the fourth quarter. They just told him to go home. So that's always kind of interesting. But the Rams did what they need to do. What's the most important thing? They won. They won the game. They are now 3-3. They are, believe it or not, tied at the top of the NFC West, along with Seattle of all teams and the San Francisco 49ers. All three of those teams are 3-3. And they are in it, for lack of a better word. And there are a lot of warts on that 3-3 record, to be sure. There are not a lot of, little curly cues and hearts and smiley faces on it, but they are 3-3. And let's talk about why it was so important, literally just to win. Aesthetics meant nothing yesterday, and that's a good thing because there weren't many of them. Matthew Stafford threw another pick six, gave Carolina its only touchdown of the day. The defense for the Rams, very, very good. Only allowed 3 points on that opening drive. They made P.J. Walker look like a guy that was a fourth-string NFL quarterback. They did what they're supposed to do defensively. They won the game because here's what was hanging in the balance. If you win the game, exactly what happened is where we are right now, which is, hey, you're 3-3. Anything can happen in this division, and it did. San Francisco loses to Atlanta, who the Rams beat. Go figure. And now basically the entire division is 3-3. You're going into your bye. You're feeling pretty good about where you are going into your bye as far as your record, all things being considered. Look, at the beginning of the year, if you would have said, the Rams will hit the bye week in week 7 at 3-3 and say, wait, what? That's not what anybody would have signed up for. That's not what a team that's coming off of a Super Bowl championship would want. You don't want to be 3-3 through your first 6 games of the season, especially considering who you were playing. But in the context of the first 6 weeks of the season, it feels like a gift, quite frankly, because of the 6 games they've played well 0 times. It's the truth. It's the truth. They've played well 0 times. They've had a quarter. They've had a half. They've had some drives. They've had some individual performances that are impressive. But from opening kickoff till 000 on the clock in the fourth quarter, the Rams have not put together a complete football game. They've been decimated with injuries. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. And it has been about as difficult a slog as you could ask for through the first 6 games. And they got to it with a 3-3 record. Not ideal, but they had to have it, and they did, because the opposite of that would have been to come out of this one 2-4, looking up at San Francisco, looking up at Seattle, and saying to yourself, okay, are we as good as either one of those teams? And the answer would probably be no. The answer might still be no. The answer might still be, look, the whole division is wacky. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. San Francisco can't beat anybody that's not the LA Rams, but they're in it. They desperately needed that win. You could hear it from Sean McVay after the game. We interviewed him on the post-game show. And look, Sean McVay is competitive. Sean McVay is very bright. He's a great coach. He's all of those things. But very rarely do you just get a sense of relief when you hear him talk. And that's what it felt like. It felt like a sense of relief. Like, hey, listen, at least for a week, we can go on vacation. The players can get their bodies right, their minds right. We can try to regroup and go fight San Francisco again when we come out of this in week 8 and be ready to go. For a week, we can at least feel good about where we are as a football team, because the reality of it is it's going to be very, very difficult. The schedule on the back, here's what you got coming up. You open up the last, you play 11 weeks in a row, first of all. You open that 11-week stretch with a home game against the San Francisco 49ers. It'll be at least 50% Niners fans, probably more, almost certainly more. The team that has beaten you 7 times in a row during the regular season. Then you've got road games at Tampa, Kansas City, Green Bay, New Orleans. 4 very, very tough places to play. You have to go to Seattle, which all of a sudden, what felt like a layup, who knows? You've got a road game against the Chargers. You get the Raiders, who, while maybe their record is lousy, I don't think the Raiders are a lousy football team. Of all of the games you have left, of the 11 games that you have left, 2 of them are games you probably feel pretty good about. That would be at home against Arizona, who apparently is still Arizona all over again, and at home on Christmas Day against the Denver Broncos. Those are the 2 games you're like, yeah, I think they're going to win. So that leaves you 9 more. So you put those 2 in the win column. That gives you 5. You're going to have to find 5 more wins out of those remaining 9 games. You got to go 5-4. Can you do it? Yeah. Is it easy? Absolutely not. That's why you absolutely had to have this one. The offensive line got even worse on Sunday afternoon. Believe it or not, it happened again. Now, all of a sudden, Joe Nopum is down. Looks like an Achilles injury. So you are down to 4 backup linemen, 3 of those guys, third stringers or worse, or recently claimed free agents. It has been an absolute calamity up front, something that they're going to have to get squared away, something that we will definitely spend some time talking about on Locked On Rams coming up this week. It's the bye week. But here is some of the best news other than the win, the best news that we've been waiting for really for 6 weeks. We finally got it. Allen Robinson, welcome to the team. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. So I am 50 years old, right? I have had some physical changes in my body over the last, 5, 6, 10 years or so. The little bit of the dad bod. You don't quite have that little thing that you used to have, and maybe you don't have the time to work out that you wanted to, but you want to have that energy. You want to look the way that you used to look. And that's where Nugenix comes in, right? It just makes you feel like yourself all over again. It makes those workouts easier to get through. You're more enthusiastic to attack them. It is a huge advantage when we're talking about Nugenix. So if you want more energy to counter the negative effects of aging, Nugenix Total T Testosterone Booster with Testofen will help you get turning back that clock like never before, right? Re-energize your workout. You get better results at the gym, and it helps you feel and look like the guy that you absolutely want to be. While every product professes quality, many other products use generic ingredients that are often far less than clinical grade. With Nugenix Total T, you get the same clinical potency levels used in the trials. And Nugenix's formulation is backed by 10 years of science and research. Nugenix Total T, #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. And Nugenix Total T can help you re-energize your life and help you get back to the powerful, confident, good-looking warrior you used to be. Here's what you need to do. To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text NFL to 231-231. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text NFL to 231-231. Text NFL to 231-231. Message and data rate supply. Terms apply. Available at nugenix.com/terms. I could not be happier to tell you about Athletic Greens, AG1, because it has really changed the way I go about starting my morning. I started taking AG1 about 3 months or so ago, and it has completely changed the way that I feel. It's something I use literally every single day. I just didn't quite feel like myself. I needed a little bit of spark in the morning. I wanted to make sure that my gut health was good. All of these things that just kind of add up to feeling less than your best. AG1 has absolutely changed all of that. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right? You put 1 cup right into a cup of water, 1 little scoop, I should say, into a cup of water, and the special blend of ingredients support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy. I've noticed it off the charts, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things that you're looking for. I do it every single morning. I don't need that caffeine hit that I've always had before. I bring it with me when I travel, get the little travel packs. It is a must-have to start your day. And it costs less than you're probably thinking. It's less than $3 a day. It's the best investment you can make in your health. And it's probably cheaper than that coffee habit that you're doing right now. It's cheaper than all the different supplements that you're taking. And by the way, just 1 scoop. It's investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Here's how you do it. It's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every single day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Those things are a lifesaver. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NFL network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NFL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thanks again for making Locked On Rams your first listen every day. Make sure you check out NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. Locked On's local NFL experts giving you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games of the NFL weekend, including Sunday and Monday Night Football, plus betting advice from the field's leading experts, BetOnline. Follow NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Well, it took 6 weeks to happen, but it finally did. And I don't know if this is the beginning of a new relationship with Allen Robinson and Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and the rest of the Rams offense, but better late than never, I guess. Let's go back, right? Let's go back to the beginning of the season. Let's go back to free agency when the Rams decided to sign Allen Robinson to a free agent contract. I think that almost without exception, Rams fans were bullish on this idea. This is a guy who had been highly effective in Jacksonville, highly effective in Chicago, playing with less than great quarterbacks and less than great offensive minds. It felt like a match made in heaven. Give him Matthew Stafford, who can make every throw. Give him Sean McVay, who has an offensive bent in his philosophy. And give him a number 1 wide receiver in Cooper Kupp, who's going to draw most of the attention. And you thought that Allen Robinson was going to absolutely kill it. Didn't happen. To say it did not happen. And to the point of not that he wasn't tearing it up, he wasn't involved. Catch here, catch there, and 1 catch against Atlanta early in the game for a touchdown. Didn't really feel like that big of a moment or anything. It just was like he's out there. Ben Skoranek was catching as many passes. Tyler Higbee had more catches than he did. He was not a factor, and they weren't looking at him. It wasn't just that he wasn't getting the ball. They weren't looking at him. And you know why? He wasn't getting open. They didn't have time to protect Matthew Stafford. They didn't have time to get him down the field. And all these things added up to what in the world is going on with Allen Robinson? You can't get anything going with him. It finally happened against the Panthers on Sunday in week 6. 5 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown, and the type of touchdown that I think that Rams fans can feel pretty good about because they put him out to the left by himself, one-on-one. Matthew Stafford throws a little fade into the corner, and Robinson goes up and above the defensive back, catches a touchdown. Boom, gives the Rams a TD. Feeling pretty good about it. And it wasn't just that they got him a touchdown. It wasn't just that they finally got to throw that fade where we saw them destroy guys during camp. You go back to that joint practice against the Bengals. They're like, okay, enough of that. They can't stop it. We're good. Let's move forward. He had some big catches in the moment. There was one where Matthew Stafford had to scramble around, buy a little time. He shakes his guy, middle of the field, first down, keep it moving. He made a beautiful catch down the right sidelines, over his shoulder, leaping catch, gets both feet in bounds, keeps the drive moving. Rams go to score. Huge part of the game. It wasn't just that they looked at him. It's when they looked at him, it worked. And even when they weren't looking at him out of the huddle, they found a way to get him involved. He found a way to get himself involved. He got open. There were a couple of other opportunities where he was open. Matthew Stafford just didn't find him. There was one ultimately when they ended up scoring their first touchdown with Allen Robinson. He was open down the right side earlier. They could have hit Darrell Henderson for a shorter one that went for a first down. He was open behind the defense in that situation. And an opportunity. Now, it worked out. They ended up scoring anyway. But you could feel that they were starting to use him in the way that I think he was envisioned being used when he came over here in the first place. Now, I understand the opponent had a lot to. Carolina's bad, like bad. Might be the worst team in the league. Bad. They're down to their 4th, if not 5th quarterback. Jacob Eason had to come in and clean up that game last night. It was bad. Okay. So what? You finally got your guy engaged. You finally got your guy involved in an offense. And now, whether it's San Francisco, whether it's in Green Bay or Kansas City or Tampa or New Orleans or any of these games that are coming up over the course of the second part of their season, you can have Allen Robinson and theoretically talk yourself into, hey, he can be a part of this. Now, if we turn around San Francisco and he gets 2 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards and does nothing, we're right back where we were. But at least for a day, much like the win against Carolina, a win and Allen Robinson being involved, I don't care who was against. I don't care the circumstances involved. For one day, we're going to take it. We're going to save it. Welcome, Allen Robinson. It is terrific having you here. Glad you made it. Took a little longer than we were hoping, but I'm glad it finally happened. All right. What in the world is going on with the NFC West? Try to figure it out next on Locked On Rams. Have you tried PrizePicks yet? Have you gotten to do it yet? It's the best way to do daily fantasy, right? It is so much fun because it's easy, right? It's easy. You don't have to be some genius and figuring out lines and this and all of these. Here's what you do. You watch football, right? You know who these guys are. You can make a prediction. You have an opinion on whether or not Derrick Henry is going to run for more or less than 85 yards or Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for 320 yards. Whatever the numbers are at PrizePicks, you just have to decide, is he going to go over? Is he going to go under? That's why I like it. It is that easy to play, and you can win. Here's how you do it. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. You're not competing against 10 other people, 20 other people, 100, 1,000. It's just you versus the projections available. That's it. And no matter what sport you're into, the NFL, of course, NBA, that gets going here tomorrow. Major League Baseball is still got their playoffs going. NHL, of course, is just getting going. You like a sport, they got you covered at PrizePicks. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. Download the PrizePicks app, or you can go to prizepicks.com and just sign up and play daily fantasy sports. And first-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit 100, PrizePicks will give you 100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter that promo code Locked On at sign up for instant deposit match of up to $100. Thanks again for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. My name is Travis Rogers. Make sure you click that subscribe button in your podcast feed. Make sure that you check us out on YouTube as well. Locked On Rams YouTube page. You can see the podcast. You can listen to it from your laptop, whatever you want to do. There's a million different ways to check in Locked On Rams. Okay. What's going on with the NFC West? This was a division last year that put 3 teams in the playoffs. This was a division that had the final 2 in the NFC, both the Rams and the Niners in the NFC Championship game. And this was a division that coming into the year, I think a lot of people thought, along with the AFC West, would be one of the more competitive divisions in football. Now, it's competitive, I guess, is one way to look at it, but it's competitive for all the wrong reasons. It's competitive because it feels like everybody is average or worse, right? The NFC East, Philly, unbeaten. Dallas looks really good, even though they have a couple of losses. The Giants have 1 loss along the way, and then you got the Commanders. But that's what the division is supposed to look like, or at least what we thought the NFC West was supposed to look like. San Francisco was going to play with a young quarterback. He gets hurt very early in the season. We're right back to Jimmy G. The Rams coming off of a Super Bowl championship thing, and they've added guys like Allen Robinson. They've kind of had Bobby Wagner. They've made some real changes, and they can't get out of their own way. Seattle was supposed to be the team that was in the middle of a rebuild. They send Russell Wilson out to Denver, thinking that they're just going to burn the thing down and start over from scratch. They're probably playing more ahead of schedule than anybody in the league, arguably, certainly in the division, with Geno Smith running that offense really, really well. And then you've got Arizona, who I guess if anybody's on brand this year, it's probably Arizona, because they're all over the map. Kyler Murray is transcendent for one quarter, terrible for another. Cliff Kingsbury can't seem to put together any sort of game plan that gets them together. But here you are about a third of the way through the season, and nobody's good. Arizona might be bad. Rams might be bad. San Francisco, probably the class of the division, but do you feel like San Francisco is the weirdest team in the whole division for me to figure out? You good or not? Because when I see him play the Rams, and I got to see him 3 times last year, 2 times every other year, they look like they never lose. Jimmy G looks like the second coming to Joe Montana. Debo's unstoppable. They're physical. They terrorize the quarterback. They never miss a field goal, just on and on and on and on and on. And then they go to Atlanta and they lose. And then they turn around and they just have clunker after clunker after clunker. And they show up to the Rams and they beat the tires off of them. It's just, they're the hardest team to figure out. Arizona, who gives San Francisco a hard time, they couldn't beat the Rams if you gave them 100 tries. It's just such a weird division right now. The good news is nobody's good. The bad news is nobody's good, right? You're just kind of in this netherworld of, hey, let's just see. I really do think 10 wins this division. There's a scenario where 9 might even do it, and I'm not so sure that 9 doesn't get you in the playoffs in the NFC this season. It is a very, very bizarre NFC West through the first 6 weeks of the season. And the Rams, quite frankly, are very lucky that it's been as weird as it has been, because if San Francisco or Arizona were doing what they were supposed to do, the Rams would be in deep, deep trouble. Instead, they're tied for first place through the first 6 weeks of the season with Seattle and San Francisco. And Arizona's played like, you know what? They're only a game back. They're 2-4. They're 1 win and everybody else losing, and they're right back in the middle of it with everybody else. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Rams. Thanks for making us your first listen. Now make your second listen the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson giving you the expert NFL analysis you need in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.